Hi, I'm Jen Vanderhoven, Director of the National Horizon Centre. Thanks for joining us today for In Conversation with the NHC, where we talk to key leaders about current and future challenges and opportunities in the bioscience and healthcare sectors. Today I'm talking to Dave Tudor, who's the Managing Director of the Medicines Manufacturing Innovation Centre and the Biologics and Quality Lead, and Lucy Foley, who's the Director of Biologics, both from CPI. So thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Jen.
Hey.
Hi, Jen.
Do you want to start by telling me a bit about yourselves and your careers to date, and then your current roles that you have at the moment in CPI?
Lucy, you go first.
Okay, so I'm Lucy Foley. I'm the Director of Biologics for CPI. Prior to CPI, I was an academic at Newcastle University, where I really focused my research around how we get more cost-effective medicines to market. So really looking at supply chains for cell and gene therapy medicines, and working with the medical school on some of their really good stem cell therapy medicines that they'd invented. I left Newcastle University in 2013 and joined CPI as a lead engineer for the design and build of the National Biologics Manufacturing Centre over in Darlington. And then I transitioned to the head of operations once that building was up and running. And I've been the director of biologics and responsible for the asset in Darlington for coming up to 4 years now.
Great.
Thanks.
Dave?
And Jen, I joined the pharmaceutical industry in 1992, so I've been in the pharma industry for 29 years. I joined large pharma, starting with SmithKline Beecham, that then evolved and became GlaxoSmithKline. And in GlaxoSmithKline, I spent a lot of my career in manufacturing and supply chain roles, which I really enjoyed. But I left GSK 2 years ago to come and join CPI, and I was really keen to spend the next phase of my career looking at how you really get the benefit from advanced technology, how you translate technology into the pharmaceutical industry, which was something I was really excited about in GSK. And within CPI just now, I head up the new Medicines Manufacturing Innovation Centre, so we're building that capability and facility just now, but that brings a whole grand challenge model into advanced technologies. I lead up the Biologics Centre in Darlington, and also lead up the quality organisation and the programme management organisation within CPI. It's been a great roller coaster over the last couple of years, for sure.
Brilliant. So I guess carrying on from that roller coaster year that we've had with the COVID pandemic, do you want to tell me a little bit about how CPI has collaborated across the UK and really contributed to finding the vaccine?
Dave, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, maybe if I can start. I think from a collaboration point of view, there's really been two or three significant areas where we've helped. I think the first thing is that with the pharmaceutical leadership and capability we have within CPI, then we got involved very early on with the BIE manufacturing advisory group that was set up, and then that group was also helping to support the vaccines task force through the leadership of Ian McCubbin on the task force. So we were providing leadership input to that, but backing that up as well, we had a historical capability in RNA technology. We had been working on that prior to the pandemic, and also our formulation capability in Sedgefield have been looking at lipid nanoparticulates. So it was a very natural fit then for CPI to partner with Imperial College and Professor Robin Shattuck on the self-amplifying RNA technology. And so that was the first thing we really got involved in supporting that programme. And of course that has led on to building increased capability in Darlington at the Biologics Centre, and we're now heavily involved in supporting what we hope to be as an RNA COVID response unit in Darlington just now. So that's hugely exciting, and we're very busy working our way through that just now. But Lucy, is there anything you would add to that?
I think just thinking about the collaboration and the way the network has worked. So Dave talked about the BIA Manufacturing Advisory Group, and we had two really good academic promises in vaccines in the UK, which is fantastic news, and the community got together very quickly to support those vaccines through to as far as we could get them. We had a great success with AstraZeneca and with the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine, and the establishing the saRNA and the RNA platforms in the UK means that we are in a really good position to support rapid vaccine manufacture in the future. So, and all of it was about how the community, be that the academics in the field, the equipment suppliers, the CDMOs and the large pharma organisations working together under the Vaccines Task Force, has meant that we've been a real player in pandemic vaccine response.
Brilliant. And we've heard in the news that there's been an additional funding pot of around 5 million to develop this RNA library. For those who don't quite understand what that means, do you want to just explain why that's so vital?
So I think we have to get used to living with COVID in the population, and we need to try and keep the economy going and keep ourselves out of lockdown. We're just coming out of lockdown now, and it feels great, and we want to avoid going back there. And in order to do that, the UK needs to have a strategy to respond to the variant threat. So the threat of the coronavirus mutating and either evading the vaccine or having a bit larger transmissibility, or causing people to get even sicker than they did with the original COVID virus. So in order to do that, we've heard about variants in the population, South Africa, Brazil, we're hearing a lot about the Indian variant at the minute. What we need to do is prepare a library of those vaccines or stages of vaccine against the variant, so that when we understand that variant is a variant of concern and is potentially not responding well to the vaccines we have out in the population, we can very quickly take a vaccine out of the library and put it into clinical studies to show that this vaccine, that vaccine is effective against the variant, and thus we can roll out into large-scale manufacture of that variant vaccine. So it's about having the library, being prepared, being able to respond really quickly when we understand the variant threat.
And Jen, I mean, I think it's really important. I mean, the fact that the vaccine supply chain responded in, let's call it 300 days, which was a remarkable feat. I think the question has been asked, and how can you reduce the 300 days? And one of the significant mechanisms for doing that is by creating this library. If you can get ahead of the variants and have the different options there to get into fast clinical studies, then your response time can be better than the 300 days. And I think that's the real strategic aim of that library. Brilliant.
So that leads on nicely to, I guess that's a key challenge for the UK bioindustry as we start to come out of lockdown and preparing ourselves for future pandemics as well. So what do you think the current challenges are in terms of kind of research and collaboration that's required to make us more prepared? So we'll have the vaccine library, but what other things do you think are required?
I think something that I'm really passionate about is, we had 2 bits of UK science that potentially were going outside of the UK for manufacture and scale up. And there is more UK science that stays in academia for potentially too long, because academics don't understand how to translate these things into viable products. And I think we really need to, as innovation organisations, take a step back into academia and see how we can make sure that products have the right processes and are fit for manufacture, so that we can respond a lot faster with getting these life-changing medicines to market in the future. And I guess that's a very, very related to my role. I think, Dave, you could probably talk more about how the UK becomes more prepared.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lucy, you've hit the nail on the head there. I mean, I think what the challenge, if you frame it this way, Jane, I think the challenge for the UK system at the moment, the ecosystem, is the balance between execution versus ambition. So some of the technologies that have come forward in the 3 or 4 vaccines that are coming to market is really advanced, and the technology's had a turbo boost in terms of its time scale. I think one of the questions we have to answer immediately is that, can we secure these supply chains? So from an execution point of view, can these supply chains be robust? Can they deliver the volume and capacity and quality reproducibility that's needed, versus the ambition to drive the technology to the next level? So if you look at the lipid nanoparticulate program of work which supports the RNA technology just now, that technology is not understood, it's not fully characterised. There's more work that needs to happen, and I'm delighted that the CPI are going to be involved in supporting that LNP Centre of Excellence that's going to try and answer some of these gaps. But that to me is the big question, the balance between execution and driving the ambition of the technology. Now, you mentioned skills and ecosystem. If I can touch on that for a second and then we bounce it back to Lucy, but what is evident to me is that if you look at the academic capability with the SME and industrial capability and the government desire, the government agency desire, we have got this triple helix of capability. And if we can work in partnership and collaboration, then I am confident that the UK innovation ecosystem can be at the forefront of the global response with this technology. And that's a really important message, because it's not just going to be a UK solve this on their own, but the UK ecosystem, if it works together, can be a leading voice in that global response. And I think that's a hugely important point just now. Lucy, is there anything you'd say on the skills?
I think, yeah. So what's COVID done? It's our industry's grown massively overnight because it's needed to, and we are struggling. We are struggling to find that skilled resource. I think the whole industry is. We've changed our approach, I think, over the last year, in order for us to bring in skills. But the industry is going to continue to grow. We've heard about the growth in, the gene therapy area, the growth in the RNA area, and in the sort of intracellular delivery mechanisms area as well. It is going to keep going. You've got the whole digital piece, which is inevitably going to help us revolutionize this industry. And we need people. We need to make sure that we've got really hungry graduates that are coming out of our university systems that are eager to get into this industry, because without people, we will not continue to grow this industry in the UK.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think it's not just the university graduates, it's the getting people on apprenticeships, upskilling and cross-skilling people, because it is a really exciting area to work in. And hopefully, if anything good could have come out of the COVID pandemic, it will encourage more people into a really exciting career in life sciences, and particularly in biomanufacturing. So I guess just one final question before you go is, what's next for CPI? You've obviously got the Medicines Manufacturing Innovation Centre that's hoping to come online soon, but what's next?
Well, I take this one, Lucy, and then you can bolster it, will I?
Because I never know what's next in your head, Dave.
One of the things I've learned is that CPI has got a superb capability about developing, scaling up and scaling out technology. And the mission for CPI is that every piece of innovation gives its best chance to get to the patient or the market. That's really important. Now, if I look ahead in what we've learned through this COVID pandemic, there is no doubt that there is opportunities to consolidate the RNA technology. There's opportunities to drive the LNP technology too. And I think one of the great questions to be answered just now is that, trying to inject 5 or 6 billion people isn't easy. So if we can find a solution that might be a nasal or a patch or an oral vaccine formulation, I think that could transform the regular vaccines program globally. And I think that's a really important point, because there is a danger that if it stays as an injectable and a very advanced technology, which it is today, then affordability questions come in and access questions come in. And I think we've got to make a solution that is for everyone, because Lucy's right. I think COVID is here to stay, and we need to learn to live with it. And we need to find the most effective and best reproducible and most accessible solution from a technology point of view. And CPI will be at the forefront of trying to do that.
Great. And Lucy, anything you want to add to that?
I think that the other thing that COVID's done is it's shone a real light on the north. So we've got the great work that Fujifilm are doing. You've got Novavax up in Scotland doing some great work, and obviously CPI and Teesside University and others. So I think that there is a good opportunity to level up here, but also we're very excited about the plans for Darlington, for Central Park, and for making Central Park Life Sciences microcosm and an equal player in the UK.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been great to talk to you, and look forward to continuing to partner with you both in the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.